Oh yes, it was worth the walk. We've moved on from Tongue and we're now at Dunnet Bay Caravan and Motorhome Club site. It can be very windy here, and this sign has been blown over, or judging by the rust, maybe a vehicle was blown into it. Wind and rain are the order of the day, and there's lots of surface water around. Some people have their brollies up. There are quite a few potholes filling up with rain, so we'll need to be careful at night when we walk to the bathroom. We've seen lots of hired motorhomes on this trip, a sign of how many people who would normally holiday abroad are opting for a UK holiday instead this year. We're parked up on the grass in front of the shore and getting ready to batten down the hatches for the night. Our wind-out awning has been set at an angle so that the rainwater doesn't collect on the top. It'll come down before we go to bed. We just wouldn't want to risk having it up in the event of a storm. It's morning and the external screens have been blown up overnight. We must have forgotten to put the bottom of the screen below the windscreen wipers. So that's something that we'll need to remember in future.
We've had a really busy day. We've had to drive to Inverness and back to get our windscreen fitted. You may remember the drama which happened in episode 4.
Just as we're looking to head off, we've noticed a crack in the windscreen. I don't know how we didn't notice this before and when it happened.
Lovely. So your insurance company's provided us with your policy details, so Autoglass will act as an agent on behalf of your insurer to handle your claim.
So when we got to Autoglass, the guy who was at Autoglass told us that it was a 2-man job. However, the other guy wasn't in today. They had tried to contact me, but when we were travelling about, we didn't get a signal. So I asked the fitter if he could have a look at the window, just to see if it was okay to drive. He had a look, checked it wasn't obstructing our view, and said yes, it would be fine to drive. So we rescheduled for when we were next back in Inverness.
So it was back inside the Weybroon van for the 120-mile drive to where we are now, Dunnet Head. Kira hasn't had much exercise at all. Kira, get a drink. So we go down to the beach, but it's too wet and windy for us. So plan B comes into play, and that's for to go for a walk on the Dunnet Head Forest Trail. Definitely not a day for the beach, was it?
No, definitely not.
The remains of a 3,500-year-old Bronze Age settlement are here, but to the untrained eye, it just looks like a mound in the forest. There are lots of sculptures through the forest walk, some modern ones like these 2 giant chain links. Some amusing, and our favourites, the animals and birds carved out of tree trunks. There's a big log cabin at the centre of the woods.
Ale, 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 serve me ale. Ale, 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 serve me ale.
Sorry Trish, no ale sold here. But inside we found various notice boards telling us all about the forest and the wildlife that can be found here. And nearby we can't resist having a go at the giant xylophone. I don't think Kira was particularly impressed. The stick was far more interesting.
What difference the day makes, and today we're off to John O Groats.
That's us, we've just arrived at John O Groats, and now to look out for that famous finger point sign that points the way to various destinations around the world. No, that's not it. Try again. Ah, that's the one. It points to Orkney and Shetland, Edinburgh, Land's End, and New York. Everyone who visits here wants to get their photo taken next to the iconic sign. And that means waiting in the queue until it's our turn. But it was worth the wait, and the three of us get in the shot. There's a sticker board here if you want to leave your mark. Sticker time! Go for it!
I think we shall put it here. Yay!
It's the last place that we expected to find a brewery, but sure enough, the John O Groats Brewery and visitor experience is here, giving us a chance to shop for a few bottles before we go. There's a working harbour here, with some interesting artwork. The Enya Jean has arrived from Wick, and I go in for a closer look. The inn at John O Groats opened in 2013. Previously, it was a hotel, built in 1875. The new Norse-style extension provides a dramatic splash of colour to the landscape. These sculptures of balanced boulders were installed in 2015. The boulders were from a nearby beach and were shaped by rolling around on the seabed of the Pentland Firth. This old foghorn is from Duncansby Lighthouse, which we'll be visiting next. Here at John O Groats, there's lots of other things to see. There's a craft centre and several places to shop and eat and just have a good old wander around. We're heading now to Duncan's Behead to see the famous lighthouse and the sea stacks. And as we arrive at the car park, we get the first glimpse of the lighthouse. Duncan's Behead Lighthouse was built in 1924 by David Allen Stevenson, who was the cousin of author Robert Louis Stevenson. Its design was a change to the traditional round tower. Instead, this one is square and has castellations. From the car park at Duncansby Lighthouse, there's a little walk through the sheep fields that takes you to these really impressive stacks along the coast. Before we reach the stacks, we pass the Geo of Sclates, a huge cleft in the cliffs, with vast numbers of seabirds and a powerful smell from the fish that they catch and eat here. The Duncansby stacks are thought to have stood here for the last 6,000 years, slowly eroding due to the raw power of the North Sea. The tallest, known as the Great Stack, stands at over 60 metres high and is pointed on one side. Its neighbour is more conical in shape, and there's a much smaller one closer to the cliffs. Perhaps there was a stack here at one time. I wonder if this opening in the cliff face is the start of another stack being formed. Right, that was great, wasn't it? I loved that. Now, next stop.
Dunnet Head.
Dunnet Head, here we come. I'll take that. Let's go. It's a 16-mile drive from Duncansby Head to Dunnet Head along the north-east coastline, and it takes us about 3/4 of an hour to get there. That's us at Dunnet Head, the most northerly point in Britain. So, we go for a wander?
Yeah.
Dunnet Head Lighthouse stands on a 300-foot cliff top called Easter Head. It's 66 feet tall and was built in 1831 by Robert Stevenson. He was the grandfather of David, who built the one at Duncansby we visited earlier, and he was also the grandfather of Robert Louis Stevenson. If you think that all lighthouses look the same, look at the design of the two we've visited today. Dunnet Head has a more traditional round tower design compared to the square design of Duncansby. You come up the hill to this viewpoint at Dunnet Bay. Some of these old buildings around here date back to the Second World War. Lookout posts and gunning positions, I expect. These derelict buildings are where servicemen during the war kept a close watch on the approaches to the Royal Navy base at Scapa Flow over in Orkney, which was bombed several times in 1939 and 1940. And then you come to this panoramic view right at the top, with views right across to Orkney. Back in the van and it's dinner time. Now Kira, she's already had hers. She must have been hungry. She fairly gobbled that down. She's not the only one who's hungry. I'm hungry too. Now we went to Tesco's on the way back, took a little bit of a detour, and I picked myself up a pizza because when I get in the mood for pizza, nobody's going to stop me. Right, that's a very low heat. I'm just going to pop that one there. Now the last time I did this, I flipped the Ridge Monkey over and I had all the pizza topping on the other side all sticking. So this time I'm going for a no flip approach. Oh, steamy camera. But it's looking no bad. Let's just have a peek at the bottom. Make sure it's not burned. Look at that spatula. Right. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. I'd say another two minutes and we'll be done. I couldn't wait 2 minutes. That's it ready now, I think. Looks good. Nice and crispy. Yeah, that hits the spot. Trish is having fish cakes. So on with this one. Same thing. Low heat and on the Ridge Monkey. So the question is, do we flip or not flip for the fish cake?
Flip.
You going for flip?
Definitely flip.
Okay, flip it is. Hope that was the right choice. Right, this fish cake should be ready. Oh, looks ready. Got your plate handy. Okay, there you go. Go on then, what's the verdict?
Very
Good?
nice.
Excellent. Right, we're both been fed. Kira's been fed. Early night tonight, I think, eh?
Yeah. We're now leaving Dunnet Bay campsite and we're heading off to Inverness Caravan Park in Dunbeath.
That's right. Now we're still referring to Bridget Benson's North Coast Journey. Great book because it tells us exactly what we need to look out for, so we know there's going to be some cracking things on this next leg. So make sure to catch the next video. Alright, but for now, we'll see you folks. Ta-ra!